You've just pulled into your driveway after a long highway trip. Maybe you were pushing the car a little bit. What's the very first thing you do? If your answer is to immediately turn the key and kill the engine, you might be unknowingly setting yourself up for one of the most expensive repair bills a modern car can hand you. Today, we're diving into the secrets that seasoned mechanics and high-mileage drivers live by, the habits that separate an engine that thrives past 300,000 kilometers from one that gives up the ghost at 100,000. And believe me, some of these are so simple, you'll wonder why nobody ever told you. 1. The 30-second habit that saves turbos. Let's start right where we left off, in your driveway. Most cars today have a turbocharger, and that little snail is the key to your engine's power and efficiency. But it's also incredibly fragile. After you've been driving hard, climbing a hill, or even just cruising at highway speeds for a while, that turbo gets incredibly hot. While it's working, it's spinning at unbelievable speeds, sometimes over 200,000 revolutions per minute. The only thing keeping it from tearing itself apart is a thin film of engine oil. Now, if you shut the engine off instantly, you cut off that oil supply. The engine stops, but that scorching hot turbo is still spinning down from an insane speed with no fresh, cool oil to protect its bearings. The oil that's left in there literally gets cooked onto the components, forming a sludge that will eventually cause catastrophic failure. The fix? It's what the pros call the turbo cooldown protocol. It costs you nothing. Before you turn off the engine, just let it idle for 30 to 60 seconds. That's it. That short period of idling allows oil to continue circulating, pulling heat away from the turbo and allowing it to slow down safely. This one tiny change in your routine can literally save you thousands of dollars on a turbo replacement. 2. Why babying your engine can actually kill it. This might sound completely backward, but constantly driving your car gently, especially for short city trips, is one of the worst things you can do to it. Engines are designed to get hot. They need to reach and maintain their full operating temperature to run efficiently and stay clean. When you only ever drive 5 minutes to the store and back, the engine never gets properly warmed up. This leads to a whole cascade of problems. You get incomplete fuel combustion, which leads to carbon building up in your intake system. The particulate filter on diesel cars never gets hot enough to clean itself out, leading to clogs. And worst of all, unburnt fuel can seep past the piston rings and dilute the engine oil, reducing its ability to lubricate properly. The solution is something mechanics call the Italian tune-up. At least once a week, you need to take your car out on the open road and let it stretch its legs. Get it on the highway and keep it at a higher RPM for a good 15 to 20 minutes straight. This isn't about reckless driving. It's about letting the engine do what it was built to do. This sustained heat burns off all those nasty deposits, cleans out the exhaust system, and lets the turbo spin freely. You'll often notice the engine runs smoother, quieter, and feels more responsive afterward. So don't be afraid to give it some gas. These engines are built for work. It's the constant gentle use that slowly poisons them from the inside. 3. The quarter tank habit pros swear by. Here's another habit that separates the rookies from the veterans. Never ever make a habit of running your car on an empty tank of fuel. That little orange light on your dash isn't a suggestion. It's a warning that you're starting to play with fire. This isn't just about avoiding the embarrassment of being stranded on the side of the road. It's about protecting some of the most intricate and expensive parts of your fuel system. You see, the fuel in your tank does more than just power the engine. In modern cars with high-pressure injection systems, the fuel itself acts as a crucial coolant and lubricant for the fuel pump. When the fuel level gets critically low, a few terrible things happen at once. First, the pump starts to suck in air along with the remaining fuel, which can cause sputtering and put a huge strain on the system. Second, without being submerged in a decent amount of fuel, the pump can't cool itself effectively and starts to overheat, dramatically shortening its lifespan. Finally, all the sediment and gunk that has settled at the very bottom of your tank over the years gets pulled directly into the fuel lines. This can clog your fuel filter in a hurry, and if it gets past the filter, can destroy your injectors. The rule is simple and non-negotiable for anyone who wants their car to last. Always keep at least a quarter of a tank of fuel in your car. Aim to fill up when it hits that 1/4 mark. This simple discipline ensures your fuel pump stays cool, lubricated, and only ever pulls in clean fuel.
4. Ignoring the dashboard light that matters most. This one is primarily for the diesel owners out there, but the principle of patience applies to everyone. Starting an engine, especially in cold weather, is a delicate process that most drivers rush through. In a diesel engine, you don't have spark plugs to ignite the fuel. Instead, you have glow plugs, which are tiny heaters inside the combustion chamber that get red hot to help the fuel ignite when the engine is cold. When you turn the key to the on position, you'll see a little symbol that looks like a coil of wire light up on your dashboard. That's your glow plug indicator. The single biggest mistake people make is cranking the engine before that light goes out. Rushing this step means the combustion chambers aren't hot enough for an efficient start. This puts a massive strain on your starter motor and your battery, and it's why you sometimes see older diesels puff out a big cloud of white, unburnt fuel smoke on startup. The pro-level technique, especially for very cold climates, is the double cycle. Turn the key to the on position, wait for that coil light to go completely out, then turn the key back off and immediately repeat the process a second time. This gives the glow plugs 2 full cycles to properly heat the cylinders, ensuring a quick, clean, and effortless start that saves wear and tear on your entire electrical system and engine internals. Waiting those extra few seconds is far cheaper than replacing a burnt-out starter motor. 5. The first 5 minutes, the most critical drive of the day. We've talked about what to do after a hard drive, but what about at the very beginning? The first 5 minutes after a cold start are arguably when your engine is at its most vulnerable. When your car has been sitting overnight, almost all of the lubricating oil has drained down off the critical components and settled in the oil pan at the bottom of the engine. When you start it up, the oil pump has to work to get that cold, thick oil circulating back through all the tiny passages to protect the bearings, pistons, and camshafts. This process isn't instant. For the first few minutes of operation, your engine is running with less than perfect lubrication. The absolute worst thing you can do during this time is put the engine under heavy load. That means no flooring it to merge onto the highway, no high revs, and no aggressive acceleration. The secret here isn't to let the car sit and idle for 10 minutes to warm up. That just wastes fuel and can contribute to deposit buildup. The correct method is to start the car and begin driving almost immediately, but to do so very gently. Keep the RPMs low and the throttle inputs smooth for the first 5 to 10 minutes, or until you see the temperature gauge reach its normal operating position. This allows the oil to warm up, thin out, and fully protect every moving part before you ask it to work hard. This gentle warm-up protocol dramatically reduces wear and is a cornerstone of achieving incredible engine longevity. 6. Why your car's manual might be wrong about oil changes. Finally, let's talk about the lifeblood of your engine, the oil. Almost every car owner follows the oil change interval printed in their owner's manual, thinking it's a sacred rule. The manual might say to change the oil every 15,000 kilometers, or even more. And while modern synthetic oils are incredible, experienced drivers know that treating that number as a target is a recipe for long-term trouble. That manufacturer recommendation is based on ideal driving conditions, long, steady highway cruises in a mild climate. The reality for most of us is what's known as severe service driving. This includes frequent short trips, stop-and-go city traffic, driving in very hot or cold weather, towing a trailer, or driving on dusty roads. All of these conditions put a much heavier strain on your engine oil, breaking it down far more quickly. It gets contaminated with fuel, soot, and moisture, losing its ability to protect your engine. High-mileage pros ignore the maximum number in the book. Instead, they stick to a more conservative schedule, typically changing their oil somewhere between 8,000 and 12,000 kilometers. Yes, a high-quality oil change can seem expensive, but it is the cheapest insurance policy you can buy for your engine. Sticking to a slightly shorter, consistent oil change interval is the single most effective thing you can do to prevent sludge, reduce wear, and ensure your engine runs powerfully and reliably for hundreds of thousands of kilometers to come.